Hey guys, good morning everyone. I'm so excited to be here today with Robin Pickens. I hope you guys know who she is. So hi Robin, how are you?
I'm good, Kimberly. How are you?
I'm so excited to have you here today. I got to spend time with Robin this summer at a quilt retreat, which was really fun, and she can sew really fast, so that's pretty amazing. So she's a quilter. She's been a moda designer since 2016. And recently she started getting into the cross stitch market. So we're going to have a fun trunk show. We're going to talk all about her background. Um, so before you started doing fabric, you were involved in broadcast design. Can you talk a little bit about what that is? It's really
Yeah,
interesting.
so I was, I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts from the University of Michigan School of Art, and I thought I was going to be doing graphic design work. I did graphic design and industrial design, is what my degree was in. And I did an internship at a television station while I was in school. And that just sort of like set me down this path of doing graphics for
Mm-hmm.
television. So I started out doing a lot of graphics for news where, they would be the little images over somebody's shoulder when they were doing the newscast, the full screen things, all the maps and that kind of stuff. And then I moved, so I had to learn like very specific computer equipment for that. And then I moved to Chicago. I started doing the weekend weather graphics and putting the numbers on the map. So
That's funny.
that was like the first job that I had there when I was out of school, and I already had the experience with the news graphics, so I moved into that. I did news, images and the promotions and stuff for a lot of years. And then I moved to Los Angeles to be the art director for KCBS TV. And then I went to work for a division of Time Warner as an art director there. So I did, at that point, we were, it was more about the animation and all the pieces, moving and doing a lot of things for the promotions for the shows. And then I did a bunch of years of freelance for E Entertainment Network and Style Network, where I would work like by the project. And sometimes I worked from home and sometimes I went in there. And so, yeah, a lot of years of doing that kind of work. And I like this work better, but
How did you
it was good.
transition from
So
that to
my
this?
mom, yeah, my mom is like she was the quilter of the family. So
Okay.
I wasn't a quilter, but I grew up with a quilter. And so I grew up, like, I knew what a drunkard's path was. I
Mm-hmm.
knew like what all the different quilt blocks were. And we went to all the quilt shows with her and all the quilt shops, like the fabric shops. And she was visiting me here in California. And I thought, um, it would be really nice to take a class with her. So I signed us up for a class together at the Quilter Studio. And while we were there, I was looking at all the different fabrics and thinking, like, well, who gets to, do this? And I had originally wanted to be an illustrator and be like a children's book illustrator. And so I started doing art licensing and doing greeting cards and things like that. And that's how I then got into doing the artwork for other products. And I had designs up on spoonflower.com, and they had a big competition that was Fabricate, and Moda was the sponsor for that. And I won that competition, and then that got me to do my first line with them. And then we've been together since, and it's been really great.
Yeah, and I bet that's a lot more fun than doing computer graphics. Yeah.
I would much rather be
Yeah.
doing this. Yeah, I can do that. And even when I go to do something for, video now, I rely on my husband to edit those things for me because I'm kind of happy not to do that stuff anymore. And he also does broadcast design. So that's his industry too. But yeah, I had done at the time when I started doing the quilting, I had only done like improv quilting. I hadn't really followed patterns. So it's been this huge learning curve of things, for me. So it's been really fun.
And what's your favorite type of quilt? I mean, I already kind of know the answer, but like, how would you describe your style?
My favorite quilt is colorful. uh, or it's one that's done right.
Right.
Yeah, I usually do traditional patchwork piecing. I found I think when I do sew-alongs, I kind of find I get to experiment with things and try things out, and I love that. And so I kind of learn, oh, I can do
Mm-hmm.
um, a Dresden plate, but I'm not, that's not really my thing. So I really like to just more traditional patchwork piecing and then really playing with the colors. I mean, to me, it's really exciting to look at a quilt block and just kind of look at how, changing where the colors are and the light and dark within the block really changes that whole structure in geometry and like what your eyes are seeing in the block. Mm-hmm. And so that's why with a lot of the sew-alongs, I do color studies on the computer, just kind of playing around with that. And I think that's probably, I like this. So it's a different thing than working on the computer, mm-hmm. but I like the process of playing around with the color on the computer to like, it's each block then becomes like a little exploration.
So now that you've added cross stitch, are you working on quilts first and then turning them to cross stitch, or are you using cross stitch as inspiration for quilts also?
I started doing the cross stitch because I wanted to have things that matched with my fabrics. So like with the fall cross stitch, I had the Forest Frolic fabric. And so my intent was really to pull like from some of these motifs and be able to have things that would coordinate with the quilts. So if you've got a quilt, like maybe you've got a cross stitch part on the quilt, or you've got, a framed piece of art or something on a pillow that's carrying it through to another medium. And I also like embroidery, but I found that the cross stitch, it's just that process of making the X's to me is like a little more zen. Mm-hmm. So it's just sort of like this very calming. I don't have to think as much about how I'm doing a stitch, like I go through or this way. It's just, it's very repetitive and it's just very calming to me. And so I don't mind the stitching and the counting on things. I like being able to just create this whole little scene or image. And so I started by wanting to like carry through the motifs. And the same thing with the Christmas line is I wanted to carry some of those motifs through. But then as I started to learn the cross stitch and learn the software for doing the cross stitch, I found that I had a lot of designs just that I like working on that I want to do outside of what the fabrics are too. So I have things that I do, like my goal is to always have a cross stitch that goes along with the fabric line. But I have things definitely like the seasonal couriers, things that are like groupings that really don't have anything to do with the fabric. They're just designs on their own.
Yeah, and I'm super excited because one of those today is brand new. It just got loaded to our site just a couple of minutes ago, and it's Valentine's, and you don't have a Valentine line, so that's totally different than something I've seen from you.
Yep, and it's kind of fun to be able to experiment with this to do really different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's jump into the trunk show, and everyone, I'm going to let Robin tell you how you guys can find her, what her website is, her YouTube channel, her Instagram, all of that, so that if you want to go follow that while we're doing the trunk show, that would be great too.
Great, thank you. So on Instagram, Pinterest, those things, I'm Robin Pickens. I have a website which is robinpickens.com, and that's where my blog is. And so when I'm sharing color studies or fabric collections, it's there. I have a shop which is Robin Pickens Incorporated, INC at the end of it is the shop. And let's see, I also have a Facebook group which is Robin Pickens So Happy Community. And so that's for people doing quilting and cross stitch, any kind of needlepoint, anything. It's just a community. If I'm doing a sew along, I'm, posting some stuff on there and just announcements. And it's a place for people to share what they're doing, either with the fabrics, the cross stitch, with the patterns. It's fine to be posting, you made a quilt, but it's somebody else's fabric collection. That's great. Ask questions. So join the Facebook group too.
And what about your YouTube channel?
Oh, thank you. I do. I have a YouTube channel, Robin Pickens. Awesome. It's just under my name. So as long as you know it's Pickens, you'll be able to find it.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to start with Peaceful Posy Wreath. And this one, the stitch count is 126 by 126. And Robin stitched this on Zweigart 14 count white Aida, using 2 strands of DMC floss. One thing I wanted to point out is a lot of her work is on white Aida using DMC. This one is finished in a 10-inch round embroidery hoop with wool leaves added to the top screw. And I'm going to let Robin talk about her inspiration for this design and the quilt and all the things that, because I know where this started.
It did. It started with my Ring Around the Posies quilt. And with the Christmas line, I also have put out a smaller version of the quilt, which my final sample is being done right now to have the pattern tested on that. It's been tested a couple times, but we're kitting it. So I just really want to make sure everything's exactly right. So there's two smaller sizes on the one that's coming out, but the big one originally I think was like a 64-inch square quilt, and I liked the idea of this wreath and that you could do special quilting in the center of the wreath, or now if you're doing the cross stitch you can have a message inside of the center of the wreath. I also thought this would be really nice to do monograms, so if you wanted to make this in different colors too and put someone's initials in there and a date for like the anniversary or when they were married, a wedding present, that center kind of gives you the opportunity to have some space to add some type to this. But this does come from the Ring Around the Posies quilt design, which is one of my favorite quilt patterns, and I thought that it would work really well as the Christmas wreath with the winterly fabrics.
Yeah, really pretty. And I love all of her finishing because it's different than others you've seen. And on the back, I just wanted to show you there's felt. And I also wanted to point out all of her patterns list DMC, and on the back they also list how she finished it, so that if you're wanting to finish something similarly, you could find the information on the back of her patterns. They're available at Fat Quarter Shop as paper and as PDF. So this one was Peaceful Posy Wreath. The next one we're going to show is Pine Crossing. This one has a stitch count of 94 high by 129, and also DMC Charles Craft 28 count Monaco even weave using 2 strands of DMC. She used an 11 by 14 inch frame, mounted her cross stitch on her fabric. So this is fabric. She can talk a little bit about her finishing with that and how she came up with this design.
So thank you, Kimberly. Yes, one of the prints for this collection is this tree print, and I have this. It's also on a white field. Let's see if I have that here in my samples. I do. This is also the fabric with like a white background for the trees. And so this was the inspiration point for doing this cross stitch. And so thinking about this color scheme here, but I liked the darker green to be able to mount it on. So this is part of wanting the designs that also coordinate with the fabric lines. One of the benefits to being able to put a design on the fabric is that I can use standard size frames. So I don't have to pay for custom framing for like a different size. So I can go find a frame, size up from what my cross stitch is. So I'm in a case like this, I'm mounting the cross stitch on the sticky board. I'm using the finishing tape. I use the finishing tape that you make a lot. I use a lot of this. When I have the fabric behind it, then I can float it within the frame, and so it shows off the fabric. This becomes like an accent to the design, but then it also allows me to be able to have a bigger choice of what my frames are. And I just like that extra color that's kind of put on there also for the effect of like setting off the design. I think sometimes when you've got it on like this, like a color or something darker, it helps to make like that canvas look like it pops.
And one thing I wanted one thing I wanted to point out is you left more space at the top and the bottom, and that looks really good. So you don't always have to, you know, give it an equal space on the sides as the top and bottom. You know, you can use to make it fit.
Yes, and so my stitch count, I'm always talking about what is actually the stitches, you know, stitch to stitch, but I'm usually making my boards a little bit larger so things do have breathing space. Especially on this one, I left more of the white because in my mind, it's a scene that's on snow. And so I really kind of, you know, I wanted that snowy feel to be showing underneath it. So I left a little bit more than I normally would even on this one. And I just want to say too, I was really happy this particular cross stitch made the cover of Needlework Retailer magazine for this month.
Awesome. I don't know that I've seen that issue yet. I don't know that I've got that yet. So that's exciting. And Robin's going to be at Nashville Needlework Market as not a shopper, but she's just going to be looking around. She doesn't have a booth, but if you guys have shops, you can ask your shops to carry her patterns too. That attend.
I'm going to be taking some classes and like looking at all the materials. Yeah.
So this is Seasonal Curry Cardinals Winter. It's 66 stitches wide by 95 high. This one is stitched on Lori Holt's Prim 25 count Lugana. And this is an 8.75 by 10.75 inch frame. And this is thatch that the fabric is on.
And for this, so I did start with the Ada, and then as I'm going along, because this is all pretty new to me, so I like trying different materials and things. And I've ordered a lot of different even weaves and things from the Fat Quarter Shop because you guys have such a good selection of things. And I liked this even weave from Lori Holt because it feels really good in my hands. It's kind of soft and supple, and so I felt this was a really, really nice canvas to be stitching on. I liked that. And also I thought the color was really soft on the prim. To me, cardinals are always just like the bird of Christmas, and I wanted to have that pop of red. And I like using also the thatched fabrics to be floating it on because I feel like it can kind of set that off. And when I looked at this on red, it sort of overwhelmed the cardinal, so I went with the green so that it would be a little bit more like about the bird and not the framing on it. This Seasonal Courier is a series for the 4 seasons. So this is the first one that I did, and I'll be showing you some of the other ones. I wanted it to also be incorporating the idea of the quilt blocks. So my borders going around, I've got things that are reminiscent of quilt blocks and things to create framing on it, but very much quilting reminiscent.
Yeah, I love it. And just so people know, thatched is a basic fabric that Robin designs for Moda Fabrics. The SKU starts with 48626. But that's what I meant by thatched. So she has a basic, and I don't know how many, do you know how many colors you have now?
I probably have about, I want to say maybe 85 colors.
Yeah, I was thinking it was definitely over 60.
Yeah, I know it's over 60. I think it's about 80.
Okay. And then the name of the Christmas collection from earlier, can you tell us that?
Yes, that is Winterly. And I usually do a floral on my fabric collections, and so the floral for this one is the Amaryllis, which is this Christmas lily, and there's stripes in it, and this triangle print which has little different motifs in it. And I like birds. I was named after the first bird of spring, and so this is the little birds with ribbons flying through the air. And there's also like a greenery print, which is red on this particular one. And we also took thatched for these, and we have dotty thatched, where it has the little white dots that's going through with the thatch texture. So this is just the red colorway. There's more colors, but it is Winterly. And this is arriving in May.
Yeah. The next one we're going to show is Sweater Weather Winter Pine Cone. This one is square at 106 stitches by 106 stitches. Again, this is a thatched fabric, and this is a 9 by 9 inch IKEA frame, and the name of it is on the back of the pattern. And this one is stitched again on Zweigart 14 count white Ada.
I'm just looking to see if I've got, yeah, I do. Okay, here I am. So this one, again, the idea of, for quilters, you know, more the quilting blocks, making this frame going around. And for this one too, I thought it'd be interesting also where you could leave the center. Susan Strump, who works on some samples for me with quilts, she had suggested, what if there's a magnet in there and you can put somebody's photo in the center? So that's really like a framing for a photo going around. So I think that would be a really, really fun thing to experiment with. But I wanted this to be a focus on the center. Pine cone with the stronger colors there, and the border to be really soft colors going around with the quilt blocks, and really have it reminiscent of this. And this is also going to be a seasonal one for the 4 seasons. And so this is the start of the fall one.
I love it.
Yeah, so it's really soft colors. I like with this one all the different kind of peach colors, for it. Yeah, so this one's in the works. It gets some more on top of the acorn, but this will be coming. And then there will be a summer one and a spring one, and I haven't designed those yet.
Okay. So we all have to be patient and wait.
Sorry. I can only stitch so fast.
I know.
Actually, this one my daughter was working on, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, she also stitches and helps me out with samples, which is great. She does sewing and stitching, and she's very creative.
So what's her name and how old is she?
Her name is Audrey Pickens, and she is 25 years old, and she just recently got her master's as a speech and language pathologist and from Syracuse University, and she moved to Boston, and she's working for Boston Public Schools right now.
Awesome. I bet you miss her being close, though.
I do. I definitely do. But thank goodness for things like Zoom, you know, or like FaceTime calls. I still get to see her a lot.
Yeah.
And it just means that now we need to go to Boston.
Yeah, and Boston's a really nice city. So
yeah,
it's really pretty. This is Winterly Sampler. This one's a little bit bigger than the others, and I'll let her talk about how these correlate. But I just wanted to say the big stitch count is 112 by 139, and this is also 28 count Monaco even weave with white, and the smaller pillows here are on 14 count Aida. So it's the same size, but this is an even weave and this is Aida. And this is an 11 by 14 inch frame, her fabric from Winterly, and then the sticky board is 9 by 11.
So same thing there too. Anytime I'm mounting on sticky board, I have a piece of batting. I'm wrapping it onto the sticky board, and then I'm mounting that onto the fabric. For this, so all those little pillows, I tend to just use little leftover scraps that I have for the little pillows. So most of these motifs are ones that finish at, they'll be about like 3 inches wide. So, you know, it's easy to add some of the fabric to get the accents, or just do it with the fabrics on the back. I'll put the Winterly fabrics on the back so they kind of coordinate if you turn them over. But all of these little motifs can be sewn as individual little pillows or just as individual little things, you know, you cut out and put out a gift tag, anything like that. I did the same thing with the Fall Frolic sampler and made the little pillows. And on that, they were all square, and so it was kind of fun. Susan Strump actually did the little pillow that's with the trees and doing that longer size. I think that would make a really cute pin cushion too. But I like being able to just have a smaller project. So the potential with this sampler on what you can do with the different individual motifs is endless. There's a lot you can do. Even on the little pillow, I took one of the little leaf stalks. So I had the cardinal that's on the wreath, but I put them on a leaf stalk instead. So you could kind of interchange some of those as you're working with them for the size that you want.
Yeah, and I think it's a great example to show people if you don't want to do a project this big, just like with quilting, you can pick what you love the most about it and just stitch that and don't feel as overwhelmed as, oh, I have to make this entire thing. I mean, I honestly think this little star right here would be so cute if you did 12 different ones and framed them all, and oh yeah, that'd be so cute.
Oh, that's a great idea. And I do have this one. Didn't this snowflake flew away? Didn't make it into the box I sent to you. This one's a little pillow for that, but it would be really pretty done in different colors.
Mm-hmm.
A group
And
of them.
it'd be really easy, and you could just do, just your favorite solid colors.
hmm People will ask me where I start, and typically on something like that, I almost always start like in the upper left. I work down, I work on some of the framing first, and then I just kind of work across the piece. That way I feel like I'm better at keeping track of my count when I work across.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Now this one's totally different, and this one I did want to let everybody know there is a video tutorial on your channel talking in detail about how these are made, because I watched it. This is Winterleaf Twosome triangle ornaments. There are 6 ornaments, and I'm going to just let you talk about them because I don't think stitch count really matters on these.
Yeah, I don't think it does either. I'm looking for where's the green one? Here it is. So in Winterly, one of the fabrics is this triangle print. And these motifs, this is what really started the idea to do these ornaments. I liked how these stacked up as a triangle tree here. And so you could actually even take the images from the chart, you could stitch them as one big image as a tree, because you've got triangles that go up and you have triangles that go down. So you can combine those any way you want. And I think it would be kind of fun to do like a single tree, like one of these bigger ones. I'll have to put that on my to-do list, but it would still be just using these same charts. And so you really have the potential of, even though you've got 6 ornaments here, if you do them as a half size, you can do 12 ornaments on the half size. I think these really work for doing little gift tags as well as for the ornaments. You can do a more traditional finishing where it's wrapped on a sticky board, and then there is fabric that's on the back, and usually with the fabric on the back that's fused on.
This one.
Or that's the felt that's got like the sticky back felt that is put to the back. And then the other, and just tacking on the hang tags. The other way of finishing that I show on the YouTube video is, because these aren't having a lot of like heavy usage, I figured they would be okay to leave kind of a raw edge. And so I'm layering the fabric and batting, and then the cross stitch top, so kind of like a quilt sandwich but with cross stitch on top, and I'm putting it on the sewing machine, I'm sewing around it, and then I'm trimming the shape, and I'm leaving a raw edge there. And you can actually add a little bit of like glue to finish that edge if you're worried about it fraying, but so far I haven't really had any problem with it. And I think for being on the tree, that's enough of a finish, and plus it's a little bit more of a like rustic feel to me on it. And then have some fun with the little hang tags on them, the hanging pieces, adding some some beads on things. I also think that these really have a lot of potential for switching up the colors. Do you want it on green? Do you want it on red? Do you want to stitch these all in like metallics, or really super light colors? I think this next year I'm going to try some with like a more of a really soft muted palette and see how that comes out. And trying it on like more of an oatmeal colored, or like a tea wash color, and seeing how that looks. So I think these, because they're so small, it doesn't take that long to do, and then it's fun to keep experimenting with it, like, oh, I wonder what would that look like this way. And so these have been really fun to work on, and this to me is a really great size project that like it just goes in a little like Ziploc bag. It goes in my purse, and it's small, and I can take it anywhere.
Yeah, and I did want to point out that this one, the one that's the half ornament, is stitched on perforated paper, and you talk about that in your video. And we do have some of it on order, just so everyone knows. It's kind of hard to get, so we order it, and then it either comes or doesn't, and then we just order it again, and it either comes or doesn't. So sometimes we have it and sometimes we don't, and that's why. And then this
And the
one
message to that is when you see it in the shop, buy it, right?
Yeah, yes. And then this one's stitched on more of an oatmeal, and these are on white.
Yeah, and so those do all of those motifs. You can do them without the triangular background and use them in little, round frames, that type of thing. Mm-hmm.
So pretty. And I think this is really creative. I love how you have different, at the top, like different buttons, clips, different ribbons. I love that it's very eclectic and mix and match. And, you can have fun because you can add, just things from your stash. They don't have to be, so you don't have to go buy something. It can just be what you have.
Yeah, that's, there are a lot of things that we have that are those extras. It doesn't take that much to add a little something.
Now this one is called Striped Sweet Petite, and I got to see this at the retreat that Robin and I went to, and everyone there was stitching one except for me. I still need to do mine, but I have my kit that you gave me. And this is really...
I think you have enough projects going on.
Yeah, this is so cute. So talk about this, and there are some different versions of this I want to show, but first I just wanted to talk about these.
So these, I wanted the idea of, a little something that could be a cute little project. Like Susan Strump and we actually did a little beginner's workshop, and this is the project that we work on because it doesn't take that long. It's good for learning the basics on. And just to mention, Kimberly, when I started doing the cross stitch, I watched all of your YouTube videos on your Cross Stitch University, and that's what I started with. And so I did all my learning through your videos, and that was really, really great. So I think you cover like all the basics that you need. It's great.
Thank you. That's so nice.
Oh no, it's such a good resource. My daughter, I said, did you watch the Cross Stitch University like I told you, because she wasn't going the same direction on the top at the beginning. She does now. But so for these, the little, it actually is Susan Strump that did the first one for me, and used these little hoops. And so I order them like on Amazon, but for this size, you want to make sure you get it's like a 2 or 2 1/8 inch hoop, and not the smaller ones. You can do smaller ones with different motifs. Where's my fall ones? I don't know where I put those. For the fall, here they are. So for the fall things, I've got, all right. So like this is a tiny, tiny hoop, super small. This one's like really tiny. So this is actually from the fall. These were all from the fall things. So taking some of those different motifs from the sampler and just doing individual little things in the hoops is what these were. This was like one of the acorns on it, and this is an oval hoop. So working in this 2-inch size is where I thought it would be really fun to do an initial. And I liked having the stripes because I could bring in more colors, and just like 3 colors kind of, gives it this band and a lot of energy, and you can kind of combine the colors in a fun way. You can use up like extra floss. It doesn't take that much. So they're just really fun little projects. These are, you can use them for pendants, for, tags on things. I've also been stitching little initials on Ada that I cut and use as gift tags. So I'll have like an A for Audrey and a Z for my son Zachary, and then I cut them into a tag thing and put a ribbon, and then those become the gift tags on our Christmas presents.
Okay, so you also made pillows. This is so cute. And this is your thatched. What did you put on the back of this to make it stiff?
Those are, the thatched is always fused down to some paper. So some samples I do, a lot of these Susan Strump has done, and she'll use a mix of fusibles. She'll do a soft fuse when she's going onto paper because she doesn't want the paper to warp, and she'll use the is it Soft and Stable? No, it's not that. It's a different one that's a stronger fuse that she uses when she's going onto something like the Star, where it's a wooden background and she wants it to stick more. And then also, like on that one, she uses a lot of the dots. Just like I use a lot of the tape, she uses a lot of the dots. And then she'll cut up the dots, put those underneath the cross stitch to add it to the fabric or the wood or things like that. So between like fusibles, dots, and the finishing tape, those are a lot of the things that are finishing these. The little frame with the clip at Michael's, they've got the end cap with the little mini frames, and I just got a couple the other day. So like this is one of the minis that I thought, oh, you know, this could be really cute. So that's like one of the Michael's minis that they have on the little end cap. Let's see, the same thing with the card. It's like a window card, so that when you can put the cross stitch behind it, and that also uses some of the sticky dots that are cut up to hold the cross stitch in place behind. And then Susan fused some of the Dandi Duo fabric down onto paper, and then put that onto the greeting card. And so that's an example of really tying in the fabrics, the Dandi Duo, with the colors that are picked for the initial. And then that also has that little extra edge going around, which I like, the little square frame.
And the pattern on the back, just so everybody knows, she gives you 7 color options, just so you can get the colorway. And then I think this is so cute for, you know, like that would be so cute if there was a brand new baby, to put the baby's name and make a cute little pillow.
You can do
something for their room. And it's nice and
things
doable.
Like,
you know, it's like a quick
yes. Especially short words, love, hope, you know, it's like names, initials. There are a lot of things that you can do with the letters.
Yes, so cute. Love this. And then the next ones we're going to... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say I did try... I was trying a sample with Love where I was using full color for the circles, and I do think the circles look a lot better with the bands of color going through them.
Okay. And then the next ones we're going to show you are PDF for now, and then in a couple of weeks we will have paper. And I'm going to show you the pattern on my end, and Robin's going to show you the piece on her end. And this is the one I was kind of talking about that doesn't have a fabric collection that goes with it, but is super cute, and I just got to see it for the first time today, so I'm excited. Oh, that's so cute. I love the little bowl.
So these, okay, I'm going to hold these up here. So for Valentine's Day, and it doesn't have to be for Valentine's Day, this can be anytime, I wanted to do a little pillow. I wanted to do a little free one. And then as I was going along and designing, I kept doing more and more and having fun with it. So I decided to make this into a full-on pattern. And this is kind of my folk art flower, or my folk art heart. And all of these are finished on the back with the Dandi Duo fabric. And so this is one of the prints. And I like this kind of warm coral color. To me, it's just very soothing. And so I went with that. So this is the little love with the heart in it. And this is also one of the fabrics from Dandi Duo, which we call the cross stitch stripe on the back. And then these two, they're the same size for the chart, but they have an extra border added on. So this has an extra border of thatched and sugar rose. This has got a little paisley on the back, and this is the group of 4 hearts. And we've got for the like dots and just different decoration on them. And that softest pink that's making another background thing. And then this I call Love Shack, because this reminds me of little houses. For this one on Love. And again, this is got a little extra border. That's the flyaway seeds from Dandi Duo. And so this is my little bowl of romance.
Those are so cute, and I think people have time to get those done for Valentine's Day. And in her patterns, I did want to point out they're all full color. And in this chart, she shows you all four together on one page, and then another page she shows them to you larger so that it's easier to stitch. And just kind of a note, it would be so cute just to do the hearts. I mean, you could just do a heart individually. So cute.
You could. It'd be fun too to just do like a row of them. Take the ones that are 4 and just do like 4 in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love rows. And then earlier you talked about the seasonal courier and how there was going to be a series.
Yes.
So we also have Robin's Spring and Blackbird's Autumn.
So this is there we go. This is the Robin Spring, and tulips are my favorite flower. Got to get that angled right. Tulips are my favorite flower, and then I'm Robin, so I get to combine those two together for that. The same thing where we've got the kind of the quilt block motifs that are going around for the different borders. This one is on pink grapefruit for the thatched background. It's mounted on top of there. This is these frames were all just like frames from Michael's that I used. And again, this is using that Prim Even Weave. That's the Lori Holt Zweigart. And then this one is the fall one. This is the Blackbird's Autumn. And the Blackbird is up there on the pumpkins. These borders going around. We've got a couple oranges. This is citrus for the thatched color on the edges. And this one, when I started designing, I was working on this as a horizontal where it actually says autumn on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really curious. My thought was that I would do a series of 4 where it is the larger horizontal image and it says autumn or it says spring, and then it has a pair of birds in it. And would people be interested in doing a larger one that would kind of be a set almost? You could have a small one. These being done on the 25 count, it's a little bit bigger. If you do this on the 14 or the 28, it does fit within a 5x7 very nicely. The one that's in the works right now, you get a little sneak peek. This is the last one to do is summer. And so for summer, it is a blue jay. And so I'm working on this one and I'm getting down to the bottom there. So this is what is coming. This will be the last one in the series, the Blue Jay Summer.
That's really pretty. I love that. I love everyone's loving your birds and your flowers.
Thank you. I love birds and flowers.
And then you have a free PDF called Patchwork Happy Heart Cross Stitch Pattern. This one is also stitched on, this one's just stitched on white 14 count.
Yes, I was just using up some extra. I had this idea. So I had started, I've got some free little quilt patterns for doing like pillows for Valentine's Day that are, at my shop, and they're free downloadables. There's one with like an XOXO heart, and there's one that's Heart's Peak where it's kind of got like a crisp angle to the inside the heart. And I was trying to work on a third one that was done just with little patchwork squares for doing a pillow. And in my mind, I was thinking about taking the heart and doing a little applique or embroidery on top of this that was a little smiling heart. And so I haven't done that part yet for the sewing one, but that made me think about translating it over into the cross stitch. So this actually started out as a quilt idea, became a cross stitch idea, and you could just do the smile, no words, just the heart. I thought this would be really cute finished off. What I'd like to do is this same size. This is a finished 1-inch square, so it's 1.5-inch cut pieces to do these patchwork colors, and these are all thatched. To do the patchwork on this side and make it into a little long lumbar pillow with this in the middle.
Oh, that'd be really cute. And I'm glad you said that was
So,
thatched because I couldn't tell from the, it's so far away. I couldn't tell that it was thatched. So that's how many colors she
yep,
has. You can really get the full rainbow. And thatch kind of
yes.
started out as just part of your collections, and it sold so well that Moda turned it into a basic, if I remember correctly.
You are correct. It was in the Dear Mom collection. That's the
Hmm.
first time I had that texture, and then we started carrying it through everyone, and then eventually it became the basic. So I'm I use it a lot. I'm kind of partial to it. We also have it for the bias binding that you can buy by the art on the roll, which is a
Hmm.
really really nice binding, and we have it in wide back as well.
Hmm. Yeah, and we have all of that at Fat Crow Shop. So, and we keep it in stock. It's a
Yes.
basic, so if it ever runs out, it should be back in stock the next week or two.
Mhm.
One thing I wanted to
Yes.
talk about that I'm so honored you're participating in is our Moonbeams charity quilt. So we're going to show a little pop-up of your version of this year's Moonbeams. And so you colored these for us in Dandy Duo. And so talk a little bit about each of them. And then and after that, I
So
kind of want to talk about, what you do with Moda blockheads in case people don't know.
okay, yeah. Uh, So I know you guys designed this quilt pattern. I think it's so lovely. You know I like birds, and so when I saw this with the bird on it, I was really excited. I think it's a really really pretty quilt. Uh, I wanted to do it in the Dandy Duo because that's the most current line that's in the shops right now, and I also thought for it would be fun to be sewing with this really springy palette of colors right now. Uh, I recreate each of the blocks in Adobe Illustrator in the computer, and then I have swatches of Dandy Duo that I put into an Adobe Illustrator file so that I can fill those within the blocks. And so for the one over on the left, it's on a thatched shadow, which is 117 background. And so that has a much more dramatic look to it, more of a kind of, I think of the garden at nighttime. And then the center one is on Blizzard, which is the crispest white of the thatched. And I thought it looks really springy and fresh on the white. And so that is the actual version that I'm going to be making. And then the one to the left is on Passion. And Passion is not in if somebody gets a bundle of the Dandy Duo fabric, it's got peach and sugar rose, maize, blizzard, gray, and I think shadow in there. So Passion is a little bit darker than sugar rose, but it goes with those colors. And so a lot of times will be there are differences to the colors, but we really try to carry colors through the lines where you can use a lot of the thatched with them and that they go and they blend and that you can kind of move them through and help to use, leftover fabrics with the next line kind of carries through. So I think the greens on the middle one you can see actually on all of these. I think the greens there is from Greenery in the thatched. And I also tried this on the light gray background to try it, and it's pretty, it's calm, but it doesn't have the same kind of energy that these colors had. These were a lot crisper. So I just went with showing these, and I just think it's such a pretty design. I'm really excited for the sew along. My quilt will be available for the auction at the end. And I'm just really happy to help with raising money for Make-A-Wish.
Awesome. And you're going to be sewing in the Blizzard colorway, right?
Yes. Yes, I am doing what the middle one is.
And then I would love for you to talk. I know this is like, you are like known for this. This is like, you're famous for this. Everyone, when Moda Blockheads, I mean, we've talked about Moda Blockheads, but it's a quilting sew along. And if you want to know more about that, you can subscribe to our quilting channel. But every time Moda comes out with a free block, you give like so many color options. And so a lot of people wait. I see in Facebook groups that they wait to see your color options before they make a decision on how they're going to sew. And so you're really inspiring people with showing all these color options, which I think is awesome. Did you want to talk about that at all?
Oh, well, thank you. Well, first of all, today is, the new release of a block on Moto Blockheads. It's always on Wednesdays. And so when I'm off this call, I have to sit down and do my color study. It's not done yet.
Oh, it's not done
So,
yet.
people are probably checking in and going, where is it?
Right. They're probably
But
hitting F5 a million times.
exactly. So the same thing where I recreate the block in Adobe Illustrator and I play with it. And it's just, I learn so much doing it. I learn so much as I'm playing around, and it's almost like these things start to evolve. When you start changing the colors, you start changing just what's light and dark. So I'm not rearranging the pieces. Like if the block has half square triangles facing this direction, I still have half square triangles facing that direction. If it's made with a rectangle, not two squares, I keep a rectangle, not two squares. But sometimes little things will evolve out of the blocks, like it'll start to look like it's, a little bug or a little bird or a little, sometimes it's kind of fun to really play with them. On my blog, and I have to update it still for this round of Moto Blockheads, but usually what I do when I blog about it, I will then put all the images on one page. So if people are doing the sew along later, they can go to my blog, and there is a page that's called Color Studies, and that shows all the color studies that I've done for Motor Blockheads. And if you click on it, it'll take you to that blog post. There might be more options there than what I've shown, but I just get to playing along with it, and sometimes it's just so fun to do that I keep kind of going, and then I have to sort of edit down what I show because it'll be too much. But it's one of the little fun playthings that I get to do.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. One thing I wanted to talk about is all your patterns have DMC listed. So tell me kind of like how you started with DMC, how you bought all of it, and then kind of your plans for other floss, because I think it's pretty interesting.
So because I'm sort of newer to this, that's why I started with Ada and DMC, because they were the most available to me. And I also thought that the 14 count I could see better. And at that point I just thought, I can't, see the smaller things. Well, now I will work on like the Monaco in 28, and I think the Monaco is really nice because I can count it well, I can see it well. And so I like that variation between the floss over 2 and that background. I have not tried anything smaller than 28 yet. And so I probably will at some point, but I'm not there yet. I'm still learning. So I started because I did think that the DMC seemed to be kind of the most universal in terms of, people getting it. And also at the beginning, I wanted to do some things that coordinated with the fabric, and I didn't expect when I did it that I was going to end up liking it so much. And so I really found that I loved doing this. And now when I finish a project, I do feel like, okay, what's next? Like I really need the next, I need my fix.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of addictive. And so now I really am trying to play more with other materials and, try out more like different scales of things. And so that's one of my next things, is really trying out some different flosses as well. So because I'm designing, a lot of times to me picking the color is the hardest part of the process. And I might put floss colors together that I think are going to look good, and I start stitching them and I think, oh, like they're too close, there's not enough contrast, or it's too much contrast, or now all of a sudden I see that color has more yellow in it and this one has more pink in it. You just don't see those things sometimes until it's done in little stitches. And so I do a lot of ripping out just because of color and trying to find the right colors. And sometimes I do little sample, things of them too. But because I'm constantly going back to the colors, I have to keep them sort of together so I can work with them. So what I do is I went and got like big baker's trays. And so I keep like families of colors on the big baker's trays like this. And then I do them, by number kind of running up so that when I'm looking for another color, I can put it down and go across here. And then I got like the holders that you put in your cabinet to hold your cookie sheets, upright. I got 2 of those from the Container Store. I put them on their side, and then I can slide these in like their shelves.
Yeah, and that's what's behind your head, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like
so that's
kind of
what's
like right there.
Up here.
Yeah.
Is that. So those are all my DMC flosses. So I have like a ton of these, and since I have so many, but I did also from doing some embroidery years ago, I had some Cosmo floss, and what I was finding is that I was going through looking for colors that a lot of times I was really liking the color that the Cosmo was, because they seem just a little more saturated and a little bit brighter. And I think they feel a little
sheenier,
softer.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to be trying some things with Cosmo. So I think, I don't know that I'll ever fully leave, DMC, but I do want to move over to Cosmo. And in my mind, if a pattern is DMC, it's all DMC. And if it's Cosmo, it's probably all Cosmo. I just don't know that I would really, at this point, mix, things from different brands. But because I wanted to start designing with Cosmo, then I had to order like one skein of every single color of Cosmo so that I have them all, because I do this thing where, I'm sewing and like, oh, I do need that one a little darker, a little lighter. So I just ordered one of like the entire family of floss, and then I'll do the same thing as this, where I put them on the trays so that I can do my designing with them. I also want to try Orifloss, and I've bought some Orifloss and I haven't tried it yet. So, and then I've never tried the hand dyed. I haven't done any of that. So I'm actually really looking forward to Needlework Market, because for me, I get to do a lot of research on what some of the different materials are. We don't really have a lot of needlework shops around here. So to be able to go and see those things in person is, really exciting. And so at this point, I'm just kind of still like solid color, these flosses. And I also haven't moved into the world of variegation yet. And so watch out when,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to just keep adding more trays. My whole office is going to be like a, baker's tray, thing. So, but that's kind of, I'm going to be trying Cosmo next, and then also trying the Orifloss and seeing, how I like those. And I like a lot of the colors too in the Orifloss that I've seen.
And I think, when you go to Needlework Market and you're just going to see these tables just piled with hand-dyed fabrics. And you're just going to be like, wait, what? You're going to just be overwhelmed. I remember the first time seeing it, I was like, oh my goodness. It's just like, you're just going to be overwhelmed. You're just going to walk. And then you'll get to see, some of the vendors there will have things on spinners. And then you can kind of see how different hand-dyed colors, companies, I mean, they're both hand-dyed, but they have different looks and different, different warmness or coolness to theirs. So it's really fun to just like look and stare, and I feel like I just want to pet all the things. So
it's very tactile.
Yeah.
It is. And that's part of, what I like is that I love to sew and I love fabric and quilts, and that's still like my main jam, but I love having this other hand thing, and that I'm not necessarily sitting in front of a machine, and it's very tactile, and I like that. And it's the first time I'm going to Needlework Market, and I'm just really excited because I feel like I'm gonna see so much and learn a lot. So I'm really excited to see what's out there.
So are you going to release patterns specifically for Nashville Needlework Market, or just keep releasing them as you're releasing them for now?
I'm releasing as I'm releasing.
Okay.
So if I had been an exhibitor, I probably would have waited with the seasonal couriers, and I would have released those at Nashville. And so since I'm not an exhibitor, I thought, well, I might as well just get these out, as soon as I can. If I can be an exhibitor next year, then I would plan some things for a release for that, probably with some pre-orders.
Mm-hmm.
But for right now, I'm just going to keep doing them. Because I do have the goal of always having some kind of cross stitch with every fabric collection. I do have, I'm not ready to show it yet, but I do have one design to go with Dandi Duo. And then I'm trying to work right now on some designs for the next fabric collection that'll show in May.
Okay, awesome. Are you going to Quilt Market?
Yes.
You are. Okay.
Yes, I'm going to Quilt Market in October, and I'm going to be at H&H in May. So I will be there with Moda, and I'll be at H&H. It's the first time I'm going to that, and I'm really excited because also my mom lives in the Chicago area. She lives near the airport too, so I'm going to be able to see her. So that'll be nice. I get to visit my mom, but I'm going for the show, and I'll be showing a lot of my cross stitch there.
Awesome. I'll be there, so I get to see you. That'll be awesome. I'll get to see you like 4 times this year.
I know. I'm gonna get to see you at Needlework Market and H&H and probably Quilt Market. Wow.
And Lisa's
and retreat.
Yeah. I wanted you to kind of highlight about the finishing tutorials you have on YouTube and some of the things you've done with the perforated paper, because it's a little bit different than other things I've seen, just so that people can know that you have that, so that it's a resource for them.
About on like YouTube or
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So my goal for this year for myself is to be getting like more videos up on YouTube and
Mm-hmm.
and you know getting my my more regular schedule of doing that. Corey Yoder, we had done with Sherry McConnell and Corey Yoder. We've done this Saturday social where we've done kind of like a YouTube hop, and we've talked about our Christmas projects and about doing a trunk show for motor blockheads and things. So that's been really fun to participate in. And then if I do a sew along, I'm trying to do tutorials that go along with the sew along that I'm putting on my YouTube channel. And the next tutorials that I'm also going to be doing are on curved piecing for quilts. And so one of the patterns that I have with Dandi Duo right now is partial eclipse. And a class that I've taught numerous times has been on doing curved piecing. And people have a lot of questions about that. And they get kind of intimidated by doing the curves, and they're really not that hard. So the next videos that I'm filming are tutorials on doing curved piecing so that people can refer back to those. And then I think I also want to do some videos on cross stitch, and not necessarily showing people how to cross stitch, but just more the process of it. So I'm curious as to what people would like to see on that. I mean, I can do it as a trunk show, but I'm curious what people want to see for that type of content. I have the color studies up on the blog. I try to share things as much as I can to Instagram and Facebook. But I know that I'll also be doing a sew along when Winterly comes out. I'm going to do a sew along with the posy
wreath.
With the posy wreath pattern. I'm going to do a sew along with that. And I probably will plan one for the fall, but I'm not sure what that'll be yet. So I don't know. I'm not sure if I answered your question.
I think that's great, because I just want people to know, what to look forward to in the future, what you have coming.
Yeah, I feel like there's new fabric coming. I'm super excited for the Christmas fabric to arrive in May. And I also will be doing some tutorials in that. So I've got a pattern that is beautiful bags and pillows, beautiful borders for bags and pillows. And so with Winterly, there's a panel, which is, this is the panel. So the panel's got the trees at the top and the bottom, and then there are these squares of birds. Again, I'm with my bird theme. And so I use these birds to do pillows where it's got a decorative border of quilt blocks going around. And I also sometimes make them into gift bags. So it's the same border going around, and then there's a finish with a drawstring that you pull. And so I am going to be doing a tutorial that shows the actual process of putting the top on for the drawstring and how I'm doing that. So that's another one that will be coming up. And if people have specific requests for things they want as tutorials, I'm always happy to hear that. I decided to do the curved piecing one because I had a lot of people that kept requesting that. So that's the next one that's coming.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to have a giveaway, and I'm going to let you ask the question for the giveaway. We're going to, you have until Tuesday, February 6th to enter, and Ashley will pick the winners and announce them on Wednesday, February 7th. So what is going to be the question today?
So my question is, as a person who's designing cross stitch, what size project do you like working on? Do you like working on small projects? Do you like working on medium-sized projects? Do you like working on large projects? I would love to know sort of the scale of what people like working on the most. And I do always try to do things that can fit within fairly standard frame sizes, but like what's your perfect sweet spot of like the project size?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Make sure you guys go over and visit Robin Pickens' YouTube channel, subscribe there, and I'm sure we will have her on as a guest in the future. And thank you so much for joining me today. It was awesome.
Thank you, Kimberly. Were there any questions?